Then as the healer, you feel like their mother, like, hey, eat your damn vegetables.
Welcome back to A Seriously Casual Perspective. We're Seriously Casual on Proudmoore Alliance, and this is a podcast where we talk about World of Warcraft and anything else that catches our mind. I'm Ben. I'm joined once again by Matt and Brian.
Hello.
Hello.
And like I said, we're just going to start chatting about World of Warcraft. And with Dragonflight's release, I noticed myself playing the game a lot less. I think, Brian, you mentioned this last time we were together, that we took a whole bunch of time off, and we still decided not to play the game. Do you still think that that's true?
Yeah, I'd say it's true. I wish I could play it more though. So personally, I'd like to still have more time to play it. I learned that I'm falling behind on like reputations and like those random grinds. So that's unfortunate. But otherwise, though, yeah, definitely. It definitely, like, they're not so pressing as I'm, like, so stressed, like, oh, I need to get on to do these 5 quests. Like, oh, God. No, I can still go a whole day without it if I'm, really tired or something. And that's a good.
That is a good thing. I guess to preface it, it kind of sounded like a bad thing, like I didn't want to play the game. That's actually the opposite of true. I've been having a ton of fun with Dragonflight so far. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, exact same. I feel like in Shadowlands and maybe to an extent BFA, I mostly just had FOMO, like that fear of missing out. So like I'd see people doing keys and I'm like, well, I want to do keys. What I really wanted was to hang out with people. But this time, like I do want to get on and do keys. Like I will intentionally seek it out. Like I see people asking way more in guild chat. So like I'm always excited to play. I feel like I don't get to play quite as much as I want to.
I think that's about right. Like, yes, I would like to play a little bit more, but there's always that time where you want to be on, but the boys, as it were, aren't on, so you just can't really do anything. And I don't know about you guys, but I have tried pugging this expansion. It's brutal out there. Oh man, it's rough.
Yeah, tier 1 pugging is in peak shit, as it always is. Tier 1 pugging is the worst.
Peak shit. I need that on a t-shirt.
We're peak shit. Oh, yeah, it's fucking horrible.
Beginning of the expansion, people are so spoiled because they have like a tier set, or they have like the best gear from last tier. Like we're going into this one with gear that we just kind of got from questing. Like no one has their bis. That's just a lower eye level. Like we're new talent trees. So yeah, but pugs are a little rough.
Well, and even to back it up a little bit, as far as the gearing, actually one of the most refreshing things that I got to do was that first 2 weeks of Dragonflight, where it was just rare hunting and those weekly events, like the soup or the Dragonbane Keep, all of that stuff. I found that to be a really nice, refreshing change of pace instead of the constant M+ raid grind.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was like other alternative ways of gearing. I like it's always good. That's very good.
I kind of wish it stuck around, honestly. I don't necessarily want rares to be like, you're not going to get bis from them, but I do want them to still provide upgrades, kind of like world bosses, right? They give vaguely heroic item level gear. I think it'd be kind of cool if the open world still had those options available, because I've been going out every now and then, and I just get nothing. I mean, it's just stone dead out there.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool if those events like still like gave like better gear. Or better gear than they did originally, so that, or rather, it continues to scale. Cause yeah, that'd be cool. Just to like for instance, like while I'm editing or while I'm like watching YouTube, it'd be cool to like sit in front of a rare spawn to like, so like I'm not literally doing something in WoW, but it's cool to kind of feel like it's like quote unquote productive.
Yeah, like even if you're not necessarily getting anything, you still have a chance at something. So I mean that's just a good feeling to like make progression. I mean, that's why we're playing the MMO, right? It's to progress our characters. That's what the RPG part of it is.
Love watching number go up.
Number go up, make dopamine go up. Therefore, give it to me. But I was going to regale you guys with a story.
Sure.
I feel like the two of you have heard bits and pieces of the story of the flail hunt I went on. For those of you that don't know, in Dragonflight, there's a Knoll flail appearance that the only way to get it is a random drop from treasures that are on the Dragon Isles. The Disturbed Dirt, the Expedition Scout Packs, and I think there's one other thing, but I don't have the rep to get it. There's a tiny chance, we're pretty sure it's about 1%, that you'll get a letter of caution, and then it'll mark a treasure on your map, you get a flail appearance. I hunted 283 of these fucking treasures to get this goddamn flail. And I feel like I've never had more fun wasting my time in my life. I think Dragonflight really nailed it with the dragon riding, making that as much fun as it was to just waste my time and watch a movie instead of sitting around waiting to get invited to a pub group.
Or being limited to, oh, it's in a raid, so it's once a week. Or, legacy content where it's like, yeah, you can do it, but like, you do it 5 times in a row and you're already like, all right, I need a break.
I think the repeatable nature of it definitely helped a lot. I know right now that the raid's out, there's the classic super rare loot that has been added to the game. If you played in Shadowlands, it would be like the Edge of Night dagger from Sylvanas that I'm sure Brian has very fond memories of, or
off.
Gavel for two-handed strength users. But I really like that it was repeatable and that it got me to go out and look at the world. I feel like I am so much more familiar with these zones after 2 weeks of hunting these treasures than I ever would be doing the world quests from the previous one. So I really have to commend the Dragonflight zone design. I think I mentioned before that we were kind of in the honeymoon phase, and we still are, but I really think Dragonflight has the best zone design in this game ever.
Yeah, I'm still loving it.
Dude, my honeymoon phase has ended.
Are you
Really?
over it now? You're done?
No, I believe I can look at the game clearly and objectively now.
All right, what's your take after that?
Zones are still fucking awesome.
There we go. That's my fucking man.
No, they're so great, but the honeymoon phase for me is definitely over. But
I still kind of feel it. I still kind of feel the luster. But you go on.
yeah, the millisecond I realized I again earlier, quote unquote, needed to get rep up. All right, this is honeymoon phase fucking over. But with that being said, it's still my earlier I believe my earlier rating was like a 9 out of 10. It's still a 9 out of 10, but now it's an objective 9 out of 10.
Oh yeah, I mean these zones are great. But back to the world events from the start of the expansion, the first 2, and I guess you could still do them; they're still worthwhile. But my personal favorite one is the soup event. The Kalawak feast, or the Tuskar feast, rather. The Kalawak or the Tuskar up in Northrend.
Yes, chef!
Dude, yes, chef. Seeing that shit spammed the whole time. And have you seen they've actually added a couple, like, tasks to the...
oh, no, that's awesome.
That the guy gives you?
They added tasks and they bug the fuck out.
True, you're not wrong.
But not the point.
Like, he'll make you a manager, and you can, like, give people encouraging or stern direction.
Yeah.
That owns.
Oh, it's great. I love it. I think my favorite thing is that I don't think it actually adds to like the soup quality. It just makes you feel good to press the button.
Yeah, all it does. Yeah, pretty much. All it does is it adds to your task count though.
It does add to the task count. Although I still go back because that rare Biscus that comes out of it is killable weekly or daily rather for loot, even if you can't do the weekly quest. But I mentioned mine was soup. Do you guys have a favorite, or are you with me on the soup love?
I like that they with the soup thing. So that one of the new tasks they added was you actually have to go like fish something. So that was really funny to be like.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it was like, hey, go get blah blah blah, and I was like, all right. So I'm running around like the area because it's obviously it's all like right there. You have to go very far. I'm like, okay, where is it? where are these little fuckers? Where are they at? And I'm like looking around, like, is it the snails on the ground people keep stepping on? Nope, that's something else. So I'm just like looking around. I looked around for like I think 3 minutes, and I realized I looked in the water and there was like 2 schools of fish that were like glowing, and I was like, okay. So I like jumped in the water, and now the hour I was like, oh no way. So I like threw out my fishing rod and boom, there it is. And I was like, oh, okay, so you actually have to fish them up. Like, there you go.
You know, I think that's actually a secret ploy by Blizzard, because if you remember early on, people realized that there was no point to doing tasks once you've done your 5, so they would just stand there and fish to wait for the soup to be over.
True.
So I think they actually just tricked people into standing there and fishing.
That's pretty great.
Blizzard! Tricking me into enjoying your content?
But Matt, what was your favorite event to do, whether it's rare hunting or any of the weeklies? What do you got?
I don't know. I think the assault is fun. What was it? Dragonbane Keep?
Dragonbane Keep, yeah, and Waking Shores.
It's kind of fun, but only because it goes by so fast that the challenge isn't will it get done. It's am I going to find all these little grubs to feed this big and good frog in time before they just like finish it too fast. So like, I don't know. It gives me that little quick shot of adrenaline. It's nice and quick. Like I don't have to dwell on it for a long time. So I kind of like that one.
I think that's pretty good. I actually did it kind of accidentally really early on. I think it was day 2. It was like the same day that I hit level 70, where it was me and 2 other people. So it was actually really, really hard because nobody really knew what they were doing yet. So nobody came to help. But now you're right. It's basically instant when you've got 80 people all killing Desjardins and clicking the camp setup and all of that sort of nonsense. It kind of just goes by instantly, which sucks because it has an hour timer, but it's done in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it sucks especially because if you like trying to get it, like, yeah, you see the timer, like, oh, cool, I can go do the thing. If you zone in at like certain phases, you won't get into the scenario, and then you'll be there for nothing.
Oh wow, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, if you're on the second last phase, it's been consistently bugged for me. If you enter the second last phase.
Oh, that's actually really rough. I haven't encountered that, but I mean, I'm not surprised. Dragonflight released with quite a bit of bugs.
Yeah, there's a reason it isn't a perfect 10.
On the opposite side, though, you have the situations where you're flying through an area just casually, just maybe you're going to go do a race world quest or something. You got something to go do, and you just kind of oops through an area, and you go, Grand Hunt completed? Oh, cool, I get a little bag, I guess.
Yo, I love hunts, bro. Hunts are great.
I've done so many hunts by just accidentally flying around looking for this damn flail.
I've done so many hunts. I'm waiting for the fucking the flood chest to open.
Oh wow! Oh, those 2 chests actually. The flood chest is kind of uninteresting because it's sort of there, but that storm chest where they hid it in the Primalist future. So I guess if anyone out there doesn't know, you can go to the Primalist future, the quest line you had to do as part of the campaign. That portal's still open, and in there is a special event that spawns every 2 hours that gives you pretty high item level loot.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. It's in like secluded cave even, so it doesn't appear on your map or anything. Even if you're in the zone, it doesn't appear on your map. You have to know that cave exists.
That kind of secret stuff I love it. I'm so impressed that so much of it managed to slip through without data miners and everyone just being all over it. But sure, of course, once someone kind of gets the word out, it spreads, but there's always that fun rush of when everyone learns about a thing within the same couple of hours and everyone's waiting for the chest or everyone's killing the same rare or whatever new trick is discovered.
No, it's fucking great. Like that's to me one of the key parts of MMO. It's just like all the tiny little secret stuff that that isn't necessarily like, you know, like you need to do this or else your character sucks or whatever. It's just like oh cool, did you know you can do blah blah blah? Or like an Easter egg, like in the southern Kalimdor, there's like a quest that references like it's an entire quest line that references like the Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah, in Ungoro Crater.
Yeah,
you help out our boy Lincoln.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like that's not, you know, that's just like part of the world. Like it reminds you that this is a giant world that's alive.
It is the world of Warcraft. So on the topic of people having that mindset where I have to do this or my character sucks, the amount of people that did the Rathian or Sibelian Black Dragon rep is unreal. There was a very good tweet that came out from JB that mentioned that the first thing some people did whenever they had the chance to explore this great open world is lock themselves in a basement and farm rep. And that's about right. There was a lot of people that really grinded for this rep, and the rewards weren't that big. And as I'm sure you two know, those weekly quests give you basically a full level of that rep. Yeah. I grinded it almost not at all, and I'm a true friend.
Same.
Yeah, I think I'm one bar off.
Yeah, except for I'm not there yet. Yeah, I'm effective. I farmed like maybe 2 hours total, and that wasn't even for the rep. Is so I could sell the rings.
those rings. Oh man, I'll get into that in a second. But the most of my farming was hunting those rares because there's like 8 rares or something that spawn in that area every day, and you would just happen to pull other random stuff and get key fragments. But the Sarga Signet, I made probably about 100,000 gold selling those rings.
Oh, I'm sure easily.
They had a pretty high drop rate, and for a long time they sold for about 3,000 gold each on our server.
Yeah, those are wild.
That was definitely one of my big money makers. But like Matt, I know you got into herbalism. I've been doing urban mining on my shaman, and that's all the profession stuff I've done. But has that actually worked as a moneymaker for you?
I don't sell a ton of the stuff. The only real herb for our server anyway, that goes well is Writhe Bark. But I feel like I don't run into it quite frequently enough to make a substantial amount of money off of it. I mean, I'm flush with Hawk and Bloom. I have so much Hawk and Bloom. But I use that for like just regular health pots and stuff. So I feel like it hasn't been a great money maker. I'm sure if I like went out of my way to do it way more, maybe it'd make me a decent amount of money, or if I played the auction house a little better. But like, you know, I'm also not actively using crafting orders or anything. I don't even know if people do those for alchemy, but
Not
what about
really.
you
Yeah,
guys?
I don't know if there's anything that you can crafting order alchemy.
The stone.
Oh, the 8 trinket. You're right.
Other than that, and there's some profession stuff. Like you can make like other professions accessories.
Oh, equipment. Yeah.
Equipment, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. The first 2 weeks of an expansion are always huge. Like, if you try, there's the right time to make money. I know myself, I went up about like 400,000 gold, and I didn't farm gold. I just kind of farmed some minerals or herbs when I was near them, and then sold those Sarga Signets when I could. But otherwise, I wasn't trying, and still made a ton of gold. I don't know if you guys have been trying to make money or how successful you've been.
I'm using my tried and true method of get a BOE.
Like a cult classic, surely. I haven't been trying very hard, and I'm up probably close like 900 to a mil.
That's it's a lot more than I thought you'd say.
Yeah, well, I do the same thing I do every tier, where like on Sunday I buy a bunch of nonsense, and then on Tuesday I sell it.
Yeah, that's for better or worse an extremely good method of buy low, sell high.
Yeah, and man, here my problem though is that despite the fact that I think I'm at like 2.6 mil roughly, it's still not anywhere nearly enough for us to provide everything for the guild.
Oh my god.
And that like really pisses me off.
The consumable prices, at least right now, it's still early, so we don't know when they're going to level off, but some of the things are just insane. For the most part, files have leveled out. They're reasonable, even though they're half the duration from flasks in previous expansions. I think like 100 gold each isn't backbreaking.
No,
but
not at all.
enchants are backbreaking. 180,000 gold for a 3-star enchant is insanity.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, like I mean, one of our guildies spent 40k on a gem.
I may or may not have spent a total of 100,000 gold on a neck and the gems in it.
Don't look at my neck. Don't look at my neck. Don't look at my neck.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
all, that's the thing we all jumped for. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm waiting for one of those more and more of those focuses, and then I'm gonna bother our guildie about it, about recrafting mine.
Yeah, for context, we are talking about Elemental Lariat. Sure, if you've been paying attention to BIS lists or what things you need to craft, Elemental Lariat's probably at the top for your class, because it's at the top for every class I've looked at.
Yeah, like hands down.
But that being said, the other consumables, I believe the potion cauldron is around like 40,000 gold each, which is still just mind-numbingly expensive.
Hold on, you gonna buy that thing?
I'm more referring to the mats to make.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you can buy the cauldron itself. I think that's like bind on pickup.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna make some of those to sell. Hold up.
Yeah, holy shit, dude. I mean, I'd take another look at it, but I was talking to some guildies earlier about how much it cost, and it's about 40,000 each cauldron, and that's just for potions. That doesn't cover the files.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna be able to provide a lot this tier, like, for the guild. And, like...
Yeah, normally we provide all enchants, but, like, we can't provide basic enchants. Even the cheap ones are, like, 12,000 gold.
Dude, my favorite example, besides weapon enchants, because those are, like you mentioned earlier, are insane. But, like, the chest enchant, waking stats, the rank 1 and rank 2 are, like, 7 gold. Like literally nothing. And then the max one is like 2k. It's like, all right. Cool.
The quality of enchant has definitely impacted inflation. I've seen a lot more complaining about it in trade chat about how much gold people have to spend.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna keep fucking going back to it. I wanna provide everything for the guild. My goal as a guild or as an officer group or all the officer corps is to be able to provide everything for the raiders. So all they need to do is just work on their own class. That's it. Do your rotation, do your homework for your class, do how much damage, how utility, blah blah, etc. etc. Don't worry about making gold. You don't worry about doing this or that. Like, just do what's fun for you. Don't worry about making gold unless you want to, whatever reason, like for personal reasons. But we can't do that this tier. And normally with a new expansion, yeah, you usually have to wait a little bit of time for things to level out. But usually it only takes a week. But now I don't see it leveling out for another month, if it even levels out this tier.
I would bet that it won't even level out this tier. I think we're gonna hit 10.1 before the average person who plays WoW casually could afford good enchants on their gear.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree. That really sucks, because I've had to tell guildies, like, sorry, we don't provide those. Because obviously we have been since our founding. Like, this was, I know you two were around for it, but like that was like a core value in like one of the things I wanted to offer as a guild. And for the effectively first time ever, we're not gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
It really is kind of shameful almost, where like we have to kind of have our tail between our legs. It really does suck.
No, hell,
so
it sucks.
Honestly, if I feel like Blizzard needs to intervene in anything right now, they need to do something about either the requirements to make things or how much material you get. Maybe they know it's going to level out soon, but as of right now and the foreseeable future, it's ridiculous.
Okay, I agree they need to intervene. I disagree on how you said they should do it. I believe how you should do it is they need more gold sinks. Because right now, just greens, right? Just like green weapons are 200 gold to set to vendor.
So you're talking about just reducing the amount of gold in the game in general.
Yeah, because that's a lot of the reasons why some the things are so expensive. Or expensive, at least looking like something is like, I mean, like you just mentioned, you made 400k this thing without trying. That's insane. Like,
at least in fairness, most of that has been from other players, but I think it's still the same root problem.
Exactly it.
Gold is too valueless.
Yeah, like just questing to go from 60 to 70 gives you over 100k. Like, just selling like random greens and shit that show up.
Yeah, if you're selling everything, I remember making around like 60 or 70k leveling my demon hunter, but I didn't do a side quest. I did dungeons for a lot of that, and dungeons are not like gold efficient in any way.
Yeah, and then we're not, and now we're and again, like you mentioned, all the rares. You get something you don't want per se, but like say you can't disenchant it, so you have to just vendor it. The weapons again are like 200 plus gold.
Oh yeah.
Like Captain Lancer, or whatever the fuck, he drops like a polearm or a strength ass, something like that. And every time I get it, I'm like, wow, that was an easy like 300 or 200, almost 300 gold. To be fair, I disenchanted it, so it's worth more than as a crystal. But still, like, just for vendoring, that's nuts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there's simply too much gold flowing into the game, and that's a problem.
Now, to posit another solution, do you think if they just funneled even more gold, like they quadrupled down, and then everyone was flush with cash, but they didn't up the gold cap, it could possibly fix it?
No. The reason for that is the same reason why they keep needing to do item squishes and stat squishes. Eventually, the number gets so high that humans can't quantify it, and it becomes meaningless. So like, oh, I have 4 million health, and I do 55 million DPS. Okay, that sounds like a lot. No, I'm shit. No, I'm actually bottom of my list, or bottom of my DPS meter. The guy in rank 1 is doing like 243 million. Like, oh, okay, I guess. Like it becomes less. The numbers mean less. The numbers get too big that they don't mean anything anymore. So I don't know how Blizzard can do it. I know other games have done it, but that's in other games. Like the economies in every game is completely different. So I don't know how the fuck like it'll exist here, I guess. Like in RuneScape, but actually this one might work in WoW. But in RuneScape, the meme is there's literally a sink that you can make out of gold for your like house. Obviously, we don't have player housing, so scratch that part. But it costs like you go up to an NPC. The only way to get this item is when you go up to an NPC and he sells you the special gold you need to make this sink. It costs like 100 million per bar. You need like 5 bars to make it or something. So it's like absurd, but like every time someone buys it, that's 500 million gold out of the game. Like literally in a fucking snap. That's one person. Something else they did. Now this is the thing I was thinking of before my break. Literally got distracted by a fucking squirrel or something. Is they have a well that's in one of the main cities, and you can literally just dump shit into it and it'll just evaporate, like whether it be items or gold or whatever. And there's a leaderboard to who dumped the most gold like thing. So say like Hawk and Bloom, say it's like 10 gold each or whatever, and you dump in like 1,000 Hawk and Bloom. It's a thing. It's like Matt is rank 7 on the board. He's dumped in 100k like today or whatever. So there's daily, weekly, monthly, and lifetime leaderboards, like on this well, and it is done very well for the RuneScape economy.
I think that actually sounds like an excellent idea. I do agree, though. I think at its core, there needs to be a gold sink. I think the actual best idea would be some level of player housing being a gold sink.
Absolutely.
That feels like the easiest way to implement stuff that you just buy with gold that then evaporates from the economy, but you get a thing for it.
Yeah. So and that's I mean that like RuneScape's the best MMO in the world. Like you can't disagree. Like the when they introduced the construction skill, like the player housing skill, because gold was getting too crazy. Like they literally said that in a blog post. Like this is why we did the skill. It's really cool, yeah, but the reason wasn't because we wanted to do something cool or wanted to be helpful. They wanted it because there was too much damn gold in the fucking game, so we had to erase it somehow. I think a great idea, Blizzard. Please be listening. Or my FBI, CIA agent, please get this to the place where it can be useful. If they added some sort of like that sink that well I just mentioned, but they transition the gold into real life money, not for you, but for like charity. Hello, Blizzard.
Oh, a charity? That's actually
I'll do
Blizzard?
anything for charity. I'll do stupid shit for charity any day of the week,
dude. And then they get to write it off for their taxes, and it's a huge PR move. Blizzard?
Oh, wow, actually.
Hire me? Alright, sorry. That was it.
Or steal your idea and not pay you in the
Hell, please, steal my idea. This is a great... I will dump gold into it.
I would dump my small amount of gold into it.
Like, no, that'd be great. Okay.
It definitely seems to have worked.
It's working fucking great. We don't talk about all the item dupes. We don't talk about those.
Okay, that's...
Can't win them all, boys! Can't win them all!
Sorry, we take a couple L's here and there. Now, I mentioned this a little bit ago, but I have seen people complaining about the gold situation. But honestly, that's pretty much all I've seen people complain about. I know it's been the big meme since BFA, especially, and through Shadowlands, that hating WoW is just sort of the in vogue thing to be. It is cool to hate WoW, even if you play it. If you don't play it, doesn't matter. We need to shit on WoW. I have seen that almost completely disappear since Dragonflight's release. And I don't think that that's an accident. What do you guys think?
I don't see a ton of discourse, and the very small amount I do see is usually people who have, like, new X-Pack woes, like that, you know, like I was discussing earlier, people are like, man, I don't feel as strong. I feel like I gotta heal way more in Mythic Plus. Well, yeah, we have, like, brand new talents that not everyone has memorized or has perfected yet. We have, you know, not the best gear, nothing's BIS, but at lower eye level. You don't have a tier set, like, you're starting fresh. So a lot of people that I do see discourse from usually get, like, you know, shoulder checked by the community, like, well, hang on, maybe this isn't as bad as you think. The sky is not falling.
I've definitely noticed that. I mean, to use the term, there's a lot less circle jerking about how bad WoW is, and instead there is that shoulder check idea. I've seen plenty of posts on, you know, r/WoW or Twitter or all the normal places that are real dumpster dives of just bad takes, and most of the comments are usually, no, you're wrong and here's why.
Yeah, the only negative things I've seen, besides gold, because gold nonsense, is like random PvP stuff that, like, has already been fixed. So, or
I guess it's a good point. I'm very disconnected from PvP in this game. How are PvPers generally liking Dragonflight so far?
As of this second, they're loving it. They're the people who actually have a brain and can formulate a real opinion are enjoying it. The people who cannot are getting one shot by demon hunters. And that's fine.
Sounds about right.
Like, that's okay. Like, good luck with that. Like right now, the quote unquote, like, one shot meme guys, arms warriors, sub rogues, demon hunters. You get, like, out of nowhere, you can get one shot by these classes if you don't know what's happening. And if you do know what's happening, you can stop it. And it's very, like, straightforward to stop. Like, it's very choreographed, like, what's happening. So as long as you, like, kind of know. And mind you, this isn't like, oh, you need to spend 100 hours in arena to figure out. No, you look up a video. You look up a video, spend 10 minutes fighting a warrior. You figure it out, because it's not crazy. It's a very like, the dances. You see their left foot going down, kind of thing.
Well, then correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not exactly what you're looking for in PvP in this game?
That is literally perfect. That is the ideal situation for PvP. The reason people are again complaining is they're refusing to see it. They're refusing the players who can't formulate an opinion, who I don't trust their opinion, are the ones who are like, demon hunters are OP, rogues are OP, warriors are OP. You're standing there doing nothing. You literally just sat down to eat food and you got one shot because you couldn't dodge it because you're sitting. Huh? Why are you talking? Come on. So overall, it's been the short is it's been fucking great. Besides solo shuffle, solo queue.
What's so bad about solo shuffle?
Solo queue has once again created a toxic community.
To everyone's shock, I'm appalled. Are you telling me that solo queued content creates a toxic mindset in people?
Yeah, insanity. So for those who don't know, solo shuffle, it isn't what it sounds like to people who don't play it. It sounds like it's like you queue up solo, one game in, out, done. No, it's a best of series.
Blech.
So you're with, fuck off. That's amazing. So you actually get, like, you can, like, throughout the series, you can actually learn about your opponent and learn about their habits and counter them. Like, that's great.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm in now. I like that.
Like, it's dope. Again, the reason you threw up is because then you're stuck with the same idiot for the insert rounds here. But the deal is, once your MMR gets to where, like, it should be, like, yeah, you're gonna, the first, like, 2 or 3, like, series, you're going to troll or get trolled. That's just how it is till your MMR like sets to a place like where you like should be. That's what happen in every game. Like that's not even like it's like your placements in league or and whatever game. Like you can't even complain about it. You like if you complain about those, like it's you complain about to like you're bitching the bitch. You're not actually bitching because you think it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like you're just like spouting it essentially, and that's fine. I have no problems with that. So one of the overall problems with solo shuffle is that there's only one. I shit you not. One viable solo shuffle healer, and that is the Preservation Evoker. Every other healer requires
brand new class.
Yeah, I know, crazy, right?
Really?
Like I know, like what? No.
I mean, you're lying to me. I don't believe you, Brian. You're lying to my face right now.
I know. The reason is because they are so mobile. And their heals are so strong, and they also have a fuck ton of damage that require very little setup. It's just like, I need a heal. I'm hitting 4. That's it. You got the heal off. Whereas like with Holy Pally or Holy Priest, like you gotta make sure excuse me, you gotta make sure like Serenity is up. You gotta make sure like, oh, do I need to like Guardian Spirit them first? Like, do I need to do this or do I need to is Beacon on them? Like, blah. No. Now fucking Evokers, man. So they requires the little coordination. So that's why they're the only viable solo shuffle healer, because they don't require any talking to your teammate.
That sounds about right. I guess to transition into healers in a PvE sense, the Mythic Plus season has definitely seen a lot of nerfs going out to just a random group damage throughout these dungeons. Matt, you've been primarily healing in M+. How do you feel about that so far right now?
I mean, I've been enjoying the fact that I'm supposed to heal again. I hate just kind of doing like a bad DPS rotation. I really felt like in Shadowlands, like my only value came from how much damage I can put out. Like every single thing, like all my trinkets, everything was always based around doing damage, not keeping people alive. Like I was basically there to press my gutted DPS rotation. And then when everyone looks at me, I press my like 15% DR, So I've been enjoying the fact that I press my heal buttons on purpose a lot. So that's been pretty cool.
I know for sure I feel fragile a lot, but I'm pretty sure that that's actually just a gear thing. I've been watching a lot of the really, really high geared players streaming their keys, and it seems to be that the stuff that feels ultra lethal just isn't. So I've heard some complaints that the group damage is still way, way, way too high across the board. I don't necessarily think that that's true as much anymore. I think it's mostly just that we're still really poorly geared.
And there's some dungeons that are just brand new.
That's also true. As much as these dungeons have been done on beta, even Temple of the Jade Serpent was not designed when Mythic Plus was even a concept. So it kind of got reworked, and it's not surprising that it has some rough edges that need, ironed out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Although
yeah. No, I agree. I think after a little more time, people will see a lot more success. People will get their two-piece tier set or slightly better gear. Like they'll feel less painful.
Yeah, I personally have no problem with the fact that the majority of the player base can't do a 15 right now. I have literally no problem with that.
I am in complete agreement with that, because as of recording, it is still week 2 of the season 1, and the 2 affix weeks have been pretty hard. A Tyrannical Grievous week is rough, and Quaking on the first week is brutal, but it's still doable. You just have to play perfectly. And honestly, the more I've done Mythic Plus, the more I like that. Even the 3 of us, or actually, I believe, Matt, you were not there. There was a 2-hour Azure Vault 15 that we did, and we completed it, and it was at least fun for me. I don't know.
And 26 minutes. That's what that was.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Our tank mentioned that is longer than our raid time.
You are correct.
Was that like a 2 chest or?
Yeah, we 2 chested it. Blizzard actually flew me to Blizzard HQ to congratulate me.
Yeah, I have a trophy on my wall, by the way. So If you ever wanted to see it, I'll show you my 126-minute Azure Vault 15 time.
Speed run.
Yeah, speedrun, by the way. World record, any percent.
Literally any percent.
Yeah, literally. My God. But yeah, no, I've no problem. Like, so loot right now caps out at a 20, right? So a lot of people are in the Shadowlands, or the previous expansion mindset, where you're like, oh, I need to do the max cap thing, I'm gonna fall behind, and then people are getting fucking raffle stomped before they even get to like the 15 to 20 range, and it's been awesome. It's been so funny, because that happens every expansion. It's a new thing. We're not geared. No shit, you're not gonna be able to do fucking 20s like the week 2, especially if you weren't like a player doing that before. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. I'm sure you did get better over the course of the expansion. For the love of God, I sure hope that's the case. But there's no way that, like, one, as a whole, your group did that, unless you all intentionally like really gave it, like, that was the goal, like, to improve, right? Like, if that was the goal, sure, I believe you could have went from a group that could only do 15s to now pushing 20s, like, you know, right, like, as that's like the new bar of difficulty for your group. I have no reason to doubt that that's the case for anyone's personal group. The thing is, most people aren't doing that. Most people don't play this game, or live life even, to improve. They play it or just do things to do things, or to just play. They're not always actively improving. And they're always the loudest, unfortunately.
That is a really unfortunate trend that we've pointed out in the past as well, is just the lack of willingness to get better as the solution to the problem. Because so many people will play, especially in an MMO, to make number go up, to get the gear. And the gear is a nice reward, but also the skill expression, actually doing the content with your friends, is all part of it. It's all the same package. But for so many people, I feel like, that play this game, it's just the gear.
Hey, I spent $15 a month. I should be rewarded for paying that sub. Where's my BIS gear at? Huh?
Yeah, why don't I get 1 piece a week guaranteed?
Yeah, what the fuck? We're doing nothing. I shouldn't even have to log on. You have my credit card info. What's the problem?
Yeah, just add the cash shop. It's no problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, some players, I feel actually believe that.
Oh, the pay-to-win MMO wouldn't exist if people didn't have this mindset.
Yeah, I hate it. It sucks.
But generally, I think for the most part, I still disagree. I mentioned last episode, but I still disagree that Season 1 should have 4 old dungeons. I think it should have just had the 8 Dragonflight dungeons, and then we could start mixing in the old dungeons.
Yeah, agreed.
But also, I've been having a lot of fun with the 4 old dungeons. I think that they actually work pretty well. Shadow and Burial Grounds is notable for being much, much easier than every other dungeon in the rotation. But I still like doing Court of Stars. I still like doing Halls of Valor, especially with removing a lot of that trash. Makes it a lot less painful. And I've been enjoying Temple of the Jade Serpent. I actually think that some of the reworks they've done have made that dungeon a lot more fun to repeat over and over again.
Yeah, thank fuck they changed the first boss. Oh my god.
Could you imagine if you had to sit there and wait for like 4 minutes or whatever it was for those ads to spawn, like it was back in MOP?
Yeah, that was the #1 reason when I saw that list and cringed physically.
I didn't know what they were going to change, but I remember out loud saying they have to change the first boss as soon as I read that on the list.
You don't want 4 minutes of your dungeon timer going to staring?
No. In fact, I'm quoted as saying how much I love roleplay in my timed event.
Here's the dealio, man. Like, because obviously anytime there's like role play or stuff, like whatever the fuck, stuff like that, they add it to the timer. Like, obviously, like, if you don't think that, I'm sorry, you're wrong. They do account for that. The issue isn't that that's a thing that needed to happen, like for some of those things to feel like a dungeon or whatever. The issue is that it kills momentum. You're doing a thing that relies on speed and like determination and power to go to power through it. So that when you get like brick walled, not because a mechanic was too hard or your group needs to get better at this spot, when you have to wait for, even if it's like 30 seconds, it's like in football, when they call a timeout when your kicker's about to kick a field goal, literally icing the kicker. Though that like 24 seconds or whatever is enough.
It's enough to rattle the nerves too. Yeah, that's the whole point of icing the kicker. It's a really good example. But also, even to that, yes, you're correct. They absolutely factor it into the timer. But it also just feels bad in my monkey brain. I'm seeing the timer tick down, and there's nothing I can do about it. And even though that's factored into whether or not the challenge is completable, it still makes me feel shitty.
Oh yeah, it still feels like shit, because say you like fucked up. Like say your group wiped 2 or 3 times and you wasted 4 minutes due to dying and running back. And then now it feels extra bad because this thing is icing you. So yeah, I agree. I don't like it.
I love some agency. I really do. The last boss of Academy is a really good example. That's Echo of Doragosa, for those who either haven't done it or don't remember the name. And I like that there is a dispellable bomb. I like the idea that we as a unit can either ignore the mechanic and just kind of do it, like, you know, hop out, drop it, hop back in whenever, you know, that's fine. But I like that we could coordinate, like, someone's cooldowns are coming up soon, so we can coordinate. You can run out early, I can dispel it, it'll go off early, and you hop back in. Your cooldowns are ready to go when you want them, not when, you know, the bomb deigns you are allowed to use them. I like that. What I don't like is, Matt, you're the druid, and we're in BFA, in the middle of Freehold. We need you to stealth and run ahead to start the RP, and then come back, because that's faster than you helping us just kill packs faster. That kind of stuff is weird to me. I don't like that. I don't like go start the RP. That's weird.
Yeah, no, that shit's weird. Like for sure. Like I remember, like I mean, same. I also play a stealth class. Like, guess what? You're on RP duty. That's not very fun.
Or Tazavesh would be like a more contemporary example. Like
exactly, walking ahead to start that market RP, because that RP is about 1.5 minutes long in a not long key. That timer's, I believe, 34 minutes was the time. It's not a terribly long key. So if you can get someone to start that early, you can save multiple minutes, and that's just, it's poorly designed. I think for the most part, in a Mythic 0 setting, it's fine to have that RP, right? But as soon as you add Mythic Plus, adjust the timer to be appropriate, but add some kind of auto-skip RP function, where as soon as you walk into that, he just skips to his last dialogue bit, because nobody's paying attention to the RP anyway in a Mythic Plus key. Nobody's ever reading what they're saying.
No, or change like the area in which it activates. Like make it an entire room earlier, that the next room will like load. Like for like apps, like your smartphone will preload or side load a bunch of apps and shit for you, so that when you get to it, it looks like, oh, this is my phone is super fast. Like it did this in 0.23 seconds. That's because it already loaded in the background. So like something like that would alleviate that problem entirely.
Even more modern games, like especially God of War Ragnarok's a really good example, because it came out pretty recently. That game is a really excellent example of hidden load screens. You'll walk through certain hallways that will just load a random amount of length while it's loading the next level. And it'll just keep loading a random amount of length until it's successfully loaded the next level, and then you'll go through and you can move on. Or an elevator will take a random amount of time before it loads the next level, so you can keep going. And I think that doesn't break the flow, like standing around waiting for an NPC to talk about how much they miss their friend or whatever the RP happens to be.
Yeah, no, hidden load screens are like one of the smartest decisions ever made. Like, hands down. I'm willing to bet you there's a lot of people that don't know this happens.
I would bet most people don't know the concept of a hidden load screen. You're right. I think they've been masterfully implemented in modern games, and they've been around for a while. It's been a thing since
the
Xbox 360, PS3 era.
I'll say the first Xbox had a lot of games that did that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because the original Halo did that, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'll say, yeah. for everyone who doesn't fucking know, like Ben mentioned earlier, when you're on an elevator, it's not just because they want you to feel like you're on an elevator. Hello? It's so they're loading the rest of the game while you're going up a few floors, listening to elevator music, like dancing left and right.
My goopy yucky goblin brain loves it though.
Exactly.
2077. Get an elevator. Ooh, they put TVs in. I can still see the whole world, so it must already be loaded, right?
Yeah.
Right?
See, like that shit. Like, well done, like game developers for like getting to that point and just improving on it. Like every generation, it gets better and better and better.
So then, yeah, absolutely. For Mythic Plus, using all of these other modern games as an example, add some kind of hidden load screen or twist the concept, do something so that this RP flow-breaking nonsense isn't in the key. It really does kill the flow.
Exactly.
I already talked about like one of my favorite bosses for this for just Mythic Plus this rotation, which was the Echo of Dorogosa. Do you guys have any standout ones where you're like bosses you actually unironically look forward to? Like, despite it being tyrannical, you're like, whatever, I get to play my little piano of a class, or I get to do my bread and butter for this whole boss. Like, I was built for this boss. Are there any like that for you guys?
I love the Storm boss in Knockout Offensive. I don't recall his name, but he's often the second boss you go and pull. He's the hot tub boss that just kind of stands in the middle. I love the concept of the orbs that do a good bit of damage to you. Not a ton, but they give you a damage buff that doesn't last for very long and stacks to 10. So you want to like greed and get them all, but you also don't want to greed too hard and die. And then beyond that, the spread mechanic that it puts on you, the big circles that go on everybody, if any of the buff orbs are in there, they blow up if anyone touches the orbs with that circle. So if you weren't fast enough, you don't get that buff anymore. And it's very regular that if you don't plan ahead, the buff will just fall off of you because there's no orbs to get. I think that is a mastercraft in single target boss agency in terms of the better you play, the easier that boss gets, but it's still killable by taking the super safe option if you feel like you're taking too much damage.
Yeah, and that option changes depending on how difficult the key level is compared to your group as a gear. And
yeah, I think that
sick.
is a masterfully designed M+ boss.
With that being said, I have no current favorite boss at all.
Do you have a least favorite boss?
No.
Really?
I lied. The last boss of Azure Vault. I hate being slowed.
Don't fucking slow me, bro. Don't fucking slow me, bro. We learned this lesson in Season 2 of Shadowlands. Don't fucking slow me. Even if it's dispellable, I don't care. Don't fucking slow me.
I rather, and maybe this just comes from playing PvP, I'd rather be stunned.
Yeah, actually, okay, redesign idea of this, right? So the debuff stacks up to 10, and each stack gives you a stacking slow. It's the same mechanic where moving gives you a stack, but once you hit 10 stacks, you are now stunned. Better or worse mechanic?
Am I still being slowed 1 to 10?
No, you are not slowed 1 through 9.
Yeah, I'm in.
Great. They already did this. It's called Mythic Rathian. They did this mechanic already. Mind you, that stacked to 50. It stacked a lot higher, and the fight made you move a lot more, but it's the exact same mechanic, and honestly, I loved it. Because at 50, I believe you just died. I think it just blew up and killed you. But you could stack all the way up to 50 and never have a problem. But I don't think that that's my least favorite boss. I think that as far as least favorite bosses, it has to be the last boss of Temple of the Jade Serpent. Just because I don't like dots that can go on certain players, because if it just keeps targeting the same player over and over again, and they run out of defensives, they run out of health stones, they run out of health pots, there's not any real choice you can make to help them. They just eventually die. And if it chooses the same 2 people over and over again, eventually they're just going to run out of buttons to help themselves.
Yeah, I like
that's pretty rough.
I like the how do I put this? Say a mechanic only affects ranged, and your only range is your healer. Well, then your healer gets shafted. Well, that's stupid. Like, why not make the mechanic prefer ranged?
I think preferring ranged is always better. An example I can't. There's one in Dragonflight, but a really good example is the second boss of Spires of Ascension in Shadowlands. The dash that she would do only ever targeted range. So if you were a ranged, like say a hunter that was already kind of squishy and didn't have very powerful defensives, and you got targeted every single time, it was common for you to just die and accept a B-res, and that being the correct answer for how you deal with that mechanic.
Yeah. Okay. So how I personally, from a non-game dev nor software developer person, would want some of these mechanics to work, is that it prefers a certain thing. So it prefers ranged in this example. There's only one ranged. Again, say it's the healer. So then the healer gets targeted for the first one. No shit, fucking guaranteed. The second one, it like does a dice roll, but now everyone's even. And then so the first time it's guaranteed the healer, 100% it's gonna be the healer. Second time, everyone gets like 25% because I'm not including the tank. And then once you've gotten it, your percent goes down to get it again. So everyone else goes up and yours goes down.
So what you're describing is basically just bad luck protection built into it.
Yeah, bad luck protection, exactly. That way it would smooth out like using cooldowns and stuff like that, so that you can actually like feel like you're countering an ability or countering a mechanic using your brain, and not that you just got literally RNG out of something. Obviously, being that it's still a dice roll, that there will be times where you just get rolled, but theoretically you won't get it like 6 times in a row.
Yeah, personally, I would still like it if, let's say, the first time it was the healer, then the other 4 people in the group, it becomes a dice roll, and then the healer gets added back into that pool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I still want the thing is, if they don't tell you and people don't figure it out, that's okay. The problem is once people find that out, it's too easy to cheese.
That's a fair point. Gaming the system like that is really, really common. So I think actually some level of RNG, you might have flipped me on that.
Yeah, like it's just to keep you on your toes, because that's the fun part. Like outplaying something is the fun part.
Yeah, whenever everything's super scripted and it's just follow the script, whoops, someone messed up, recycle and start again because we're fucked. Yeah. I like being able to deal with a problem on the fly. I love that. Yeah. And I think M+ excels at that more than any other form of content. Exactly. At least that I do. All right, Matt, you mentioned our least favorite or most favorite bosses, but what are yours?
There's only one that really stands out to me as my least favorite because, as you guys know, I am very good at complaining. I am almost an expert at it sometimes, much to Brian's dismay. I know he loves my complaining, especially when it's just, they need to nerf this boss. And he just goes, or just do it more than twice, Matt. Just do it more than twice. Maybe that's the solution, is just, I don't know, play the game, bud. But a lot of my complaining has subsided all of a sudden, now that Quaking's gone. Strange. Rub's chin is confused. How crazy that Quaking is gone and now I'm fine.
So what you're saying is your least favorite boss is Quaking.
It's funny you say that, because there is a boss that they decided, for some reason, just had Quaking on it. It's the fucking bird from Academy, which has my favorite boss in it. It's Croth, the giant bird that has an interrupt, and in between, there are giant fireballs that fall, seemingly randomly. So you have to just constantly move and not cast during that fight. Now, I play Resto Druid. I have plenty of instant cast stuff. It's not that big a deal. But gosh, when I want to resolve a spell, just please let me resolve a spell. Let me cast one regrowth when I need to. It's so frustrating. All the other bosses, probably fine. Overgrown Ancient, I've gotten used to. Like, there's tons of them where I'm just like, yeah, I just needed like 10 or more goes at it. But that Croth sticks out as like, man, just stop making me move, dude. Stop making every mechanic just move. I'm tired.
As Matt says, let me respond to this in the proper way. Yeah, suck less. That's it.
Ah, yes, the Dark Souls method.
Yeah,
Have you considered getting good?
No, getting better.
Yes. I have actually a much more nuanced take on that boss, because originally I was right there with you, man. I kind of hated that boss. They did fix my main gripe with it, and that its hitbox was fucking tiny, but it had these gigantic wings, so when you were in melee, its wings would just cover the swirlies. They have fixed that.
Yeah, you were under his big fucking toe. We couldn't see your damn fucking character.
I can tell you're very happy about this boss, Brian.
God, do I hate bosses that have big models and small hitboxes. Doesn't make any sense.
But one thing I noticed, actually, because my brain saw balls that I can throw in holes, and it makes a number go up because I scored a point. So my monkey brain immediately leaped to try to getting as many fucking goals as possible. But it turns out there's a whole mechanic where you can intentionally delay the goals. The downside is that the boss gets a stacking buff, so that big shriek just does more and more damage. It does more damage on the tank hit. But if, say, you don't want to deal with the fire and the wind, you don't have to do both of those immediately, and you can instead base it out based on your group and how much damage you can take as to when you activate the two different goals, the fire and the wind. So originally I loathed that boss, but then we're right back into giving me more agency over the fight. Therefore, I now like it significantly more. That being said, don't stop with the interrupt shouts. There's like fucking 14 of them in this expansion. There's too many.
I didn't know we had options of that boss. That's cool.
Yeah, I learned that yesterday because someone told me to stop putting the goals in a pug. I've been flamed for your benefit.
Yeah, it's the only one that stands out to me is like, I just don't like doing this boss. And it's perfectly like it's still fine. I don't think it needs a nerf or anything now that I can actually see my character. Like I just don't like doing it.
Oh yeah, that's fucking fine. Like the last boss, my hater boss, the last boss of the vault or whatever. It can be changed none at all and still be fine. I just hate it for, you know, it's a me thing. Like I don't want Blizzard to fucking, hey, your game's broken, fix it. It's not broken. I just don't like it because for the same reason I suck at dealing with it. So
sure.
I don't like it.
And on that boss specifically, I do actually really like fighting that boss. I find it really fun dealing with that mechanic. To be fair, my class also has a built-in way to deal with it. I can just go dog mode and I'm fine. Whereas you're just kind of relying on getting a dispel.
Yeah, and then like cloak every 2 minutes.
Yeah, or your grappling hook, and maybe that's it.
Yeah, the issue I have personally with that boss is that while those are I have more tools in most classes for movement for sure, but then like say there's 5 crystals show up, 3 are on left side of the room, 2 are on the far right. Okay, well I just need to hit both and also get to the boss. So, okay, split your group. Yeah, no shit, but I still need to get to the boss. So, like...
Yeah, you can get to one real easy, but the second one's rough. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with disliking a boss, even if you don't think it's necessarily bad design. Alright, so we were talking about specific bosses in general, but I guess dungeons as a whole. I've definitely noticed and kind of agree with the sentiment that I enjoy doing the older dungeons more than the newer dungeons. The older ones being Temple of the Jade Serpent, Shadow Moon Burial Grounds, Halls of Valor, and Court of Stars. Do you guys agree with that, or do you like the new dungeons? How do you feel?
I guess realistically, I like some of the old ones. Court of Stars is a little rough on that last boss, where it's like, hey, purple on purple, or you know, it's hard to see some stuff. But I don't know. I've been enjoying them. I still wish we had all of the new dungeons for the first Mythic Plus rotation, but I've been enjoying the old ones as well. I think it's about equal though. What about you, Brian?
I'm having an okay time in the old dungeons, but that's only due to familiarity.
Familiarity. We got there.
And not actually because I find the dungeons fun. Like, because in the when we're doing the older keys, I can turn my brain off because the mechanics haven't changed. So my brain just goes back into autopilot mode, and then I can go back to I can just go to focusing on my rotation and doing more damage, which I suppose is a good thing. And that I do more damage in it, but that disengages my brain a little bit, and then I die to stupid stuff. Like I play worse in terms of dodging mechanics in the older dungeons for sure. But do I like that? I don't know. I don't know. I like the newer dungeons more. It is in short because they make my brain work.
I can definitely see that. I'm also willing to admit that it's purely that it's still new, and it's just because I do know the older dungeons better.
Yeah. Oh.
And even with the changes to Temple of the Jade Serpent, I understood what, say, the third boss did with that kick that you had to run out of. That I knew what that did. I knew how to avoid it.
Yeah, like, let's see, Temple. I never liked that dungeon, even when it was current. Let's see, Shadow Moon. That dungeon personally is very boring for me, even when it was current. Halls of Valor, now that like you mentioned, they've changed it a lot. It's now playable, but it's still.
It was definitely a dead key back in Legion.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's, now it's playable. It's okay. Nothing's like super interesting about it personally. Let's see, what was the fourth one? Court of Stars.
Court of Stars.
Court of Stars. When at the time of release in Legion, it was my second favorite dungeon of all time. And so, with that being said, I'm enjoying running through Court of Stars again. But I think a lot of that is also nostalgia. Because I don't know, maybe it's weird to use nostalgia for something that was 6 years ago. But also, hey, reminder that was 6 years ago.
Yeah, for one, that was 6 years ago. But I don't know. People were nostalgic about Classic during Wrath of the Lich King, and that was only a 3-4 year difference, depending on the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I definitely agree. I think that especially with Legion time walking, having done Court of Stars a bunch, the nostalgia factor is also starting to kind of wear off, and the flaws of the dungeon, since they've made more and more dungeons with Mythic Plus in mind, are being shown from Court.
Yeah. I really like all the profession stuff and the class stuff. Like that stuff's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I actually think that's cool because it doesn't save you a metric fuck ton of time in the Mythic Plus sense. It also doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you that bad if you don't have X, Y, and Z, right? It just kind of helps. But you can still like blast through it if you happen to also to be you have 5 blasters plus you also happen to have the right combination of stuff to make the dungeon go by quicker. You annihilate that key. So that's but that's fine. But if you don't have any of it and you're like just like a quote unquote average group of players, it's still it's still a very doable dungeon, and I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I mean new dungeons are cool. Until we've said now probably like 5 or 6 times. I just wanted to play all the new dungeons.
Definitely agree. I mean, obviously we're going to get to next patch, but it's just going to be the same cycle over again of we're relearning 4 dungeons because we've never had a chance to see them. And while that novel experience is nice, I feel like we're double dipping, doing old dungeons and new dungeons that are actually still new to the player base. We could just do one and get that experience just fine.
Yeah, like I know like season 4 Shadowlands was really well received because it was like, it was a combination of blah 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 blah, and that was really fun to do blah 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 because it was like interesting or whatever. Because how would a Demon Hunter deal with this mechanic now? Because this Demon Hunter didn't exist when this dungeon existed, so like something that was like kind of interesting. And then people are like, maybe it's a good thing that we're rotating dungeons. Like every season is like interesting or new and interesting, new and shiny or blah blah blah. But personally, I rather the same, I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority for this one, but I have no problem being the same 8 dungeons for like the entire expansion, and then they do like the season 4 Shadowlands, the home run tour, if you will, and that's when you throw in like the older dungeons or some like some silly nonsense where like Halls of Valor, there's like Himdall, there's 2 of them now or something, Imagine.
I think for the most part, I agree with you there. I really liked the Season 4 victory lap feel, but I like the feeling of mastering dungeons and learning the tiny, tiny nuances as time progresses. And honestly, I kind of hate the pain period of learning new dungeons every season, where the first 2 weeks are getting over really basic mistakes.
Yeah, because it's also like it's not just you learning. I think it's your group learning things. So like, So like you like say you might learn faster than like some of the people in your group, and then you're having then it, like sucks for you personally, like to having to deal with like these like come on guys, like we've seen this thing one time, why are you still fucking it up, you know, like. So that's like it's one of those things.
Clearly, that circle on the ground is good, not bad. How could you think otherwise?
Like, oh, how'd you figure that out? Well, I stepped in it for science. Okay. Did you die? Only the first time. And like and mind you, I have no problem with limit testing. That's not my bitching or what I'm bitching about. But yeah, no, like I said, like mastering a dungeon feels really good. But also then like because now like earlier we mentioned that we can kind of like alts are more playable this expansion, right? So like I mastered this dungeon on my rogue. Next year I have to switch to holy pally. ... or anything else, or just another, or like say shadow. I want to play Shadow Priest next tier, or whatever it is. Then I get to learn I get to solve the same problems my rogue had, but in a much different way, and that to me is really fun.
I definitely enjoy that a lot. I think the seasonal affix also doesn't get enough credit for variety.
Yeah, exactly.
Cryptic, especially in Season 3 of Shadowlands, made those dungeons so much more fun compared to, I don't even remember the name of the Season 2 affix with the lieutenants, that just destroyed the quality of some of those dungeons.
Wow, what the hell was that thing called? All I remember is Prideful.
Yeah, Prideful had its problem because it was actually good to start with. I do remember Prideful being fun, and then as the season wore on, it got real old real fast.
Yeah, because it got solved, and like anything where you can like where the solution to it is like fit this piece of the puzzle directly in this place, and if you fuck it up, then your whole dungeon's fucked. All right, I guess. And also Prideful like killed Resto Druids.
Yeah.
That's so silly. Like, oh, why are Resto Druids bad? Resto Druids were fine. They just couldn't deal with this one thing. And that made them, like, F tier. And that sucks.
Yeah, that's really bad, because it didn't matter numerically, but, like, this mechanic doesn't work. And that happens all the time in raids and in dungeons specifically, but to have it happen to an entire M+ season is rancid.
Yeah, like how like some weeks are shit. Like so like some classes can't do it. Like remember like previously nerfed or rather pre-nerf Grievous?
Oh,
how did you deal with that as not a holy pally?
You didn't.
You did exactly. You didn't. You just died. Every person had to have food on them so they could eat every pull, and just so they could get like a couple ticks off to like take off Grievous. Like that was how you deal with it. And like good luck fucking making pugs going out and get food.
Oh my god.
Like, good luck with that. Much less having your friends fucking do it, and then they have to remember to do it. My god. and then as the healer, you feel like their mother. Like, hey, eat your damn vegetables. You got shit to do. Come on.
Absolutely, Matt. How do you feel about mastering a dungeon? Right? Would you prefer the same 8 dungeons, maybe adding a mega dungeon here and there for the entire expansion, or do you like how they're doing it where they're going to mix in the old and new throughout the entire expansion?
I am sad that the mastery of the dungeons I acquire is going to become outdated with the next rotation of dungeons to come through, but I am excited at the prospect that maybe it'll constantly feel fresh, and that there is that slight chance that while I will lose the mastery I have acquired, others will kind of be reset to vaguely my same level. So maybe if I didn't get to spend as much time doing some M+ or doing other stuff, it's nice that maybe we get soft resets on everything, because you'll still be going in with, tier set or better eye level or understanding your tree better. Maybe they'll kind of conclude some of their balance changes pre season 2 or pre the next patch, so you'll be going in with more stuff than you did before, but I don't know, I'm very 50-50. I am both excited and terrified, so I'm just patiently awaiting the next rotation to see how it feels.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I end up like this my opinion changes when fucking season 2 drops.
For sure, and it could still be, it's still early, week 2. We could just be experiencing the early season 1 pains that come with every new expansion.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough from the three of us. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube to catch any future episodes, as well as follow us on Spotify. All the relevant social media links for the three of us are going to be in the description where they usually are. And thank you for watching A Seriously Casual Perspective.
Bye.
Bye.